Hey, what's up, everybody? And before I begin this Monday Night Raw review, I do have one public service announcement before we actually begin this review. Fuck Columbus Day. Just wanted to get that out of the way, so yes, fuck Columbus Day. Now we can move on with the Monday Night Raw review. Well, folks, it's part two of the draft, and what do I have to say about this draft? Very uneventful, if you ask me, but we're going to get into that in a second. But we do kick it off with Randy Orton, who came out talking about Hell in a Cell, and that he will take it at, well, he will take the WWE Championship once it gets there, but he wanted to talk about last week's six-man tag and how he was the first one to pin Drew McIntyre, who has not really been pinned in almost nearly a year at this point. He is the first one to do it. And he said there's a sign of things to come now. And that at Hell in a Cell, he's going to take that title by doing an RKO. But next thing you know, Drew McIntyre came out there then. And he says, yes, you were the first person to pin him in nearly about a year. But, McIntyre went on to say that Orton has done to many others, but Hell in a Cell, it's going to be different now. As Drew went on to say, I said every time I would see you in this building, I'm going to kick the crap out of you. And Drew says, I'm not going to break that promise. So he went to the ring. Him and Orton brawled, but Drew got the upper hand, slamming him onto the broadcast table. And as he kept going for Orton and throwing him back into the ring, Randy Orton and got out of dodge and pretty much went towards the stage then after that. So a good opening between Drew and Orton, just to still hype up their match for Hell in a Cell coming in the next few weeks. So that was actually good. But next we get to the draft picks. Stephanie McMahon was back again, and we got to round one of the picks. Number one, going to Raw, Bray Wyatt, which I can understand why they put Bray Wyatt to Raw. So that is a something notable of him going to Raw. But the minute he was drafted to Raw, I said to myself at the beginning of this show, do not be surprised if Alexa Bliss goes to Raw also, and both him and her will be on the same show. So don't be surprised. Bayley's still on SmackDown. Not surprised one bit. She's the champion, okay? Randy Orton going to Raw. Randy Orton's already on Raw. I knew he wasn't going anywhere else, so he's in a feud for the WWE title, okay? The Street Profits going to SmackDown, which now that questions the tag team titles. Well, it doesn't question. Number one, we're not going to have two sets of tag team championships on the same show. So if the New Day was going to Raw, then the Street Profits were going to go to SmackDown. Okay, I'll get to the title thing in a second. But in the final pick of the first round, we got Charlotte going to Raw, which we haven't seen Charlotte in a good minute now, but I don't think Charlotte was ever gone from Raw to begin with, so not really much of a difference. Next, Kevin Owens went against Aleister Black in a no disqualification match, which actually, to be honest, Black throwing Owens into the table, which it did not break, was pretty good. Aleister Black can a set of chairs that were stacked up in the ring. Up was good also. But Owens had went out the ring then. Owens ended up dodging a Black mass kick. There was a table inside that Aleister Black had set up. But Owens hit a stunner and then hit a big power bomb onto Aleister Black through the table. Honestly, I'm kind of sick of this feud. I was hoping this was going to be the end of this feud at this point, but I don't think it will be. Honestly, with Bray Wyatt going to Raw, I actually thought it was going to be something with him and Aleister Black going after Kevin Owens, but looks like I'm very wrong about this one we'll get to in a second. But moving on to the second round, to the draft, Braun Strowman to Raw. Hasn't he been showing up on Raw Underground in the past few weeks? I don't really care. It's Strowman. I just don't care. Daniel Bryan, SmackDown. We haven't seen Bryan in a minute, but he was already on SmackDown, so I'm kind of glad he's still there. I don't mind that. Matt Riddle to Raw. Bro, we moved him to Raw, bro. At least he's away from that Corbin king of waiters, bro. So I don't have to see him on the same show, bro. Bro, I'm on Raw, bro. Kevin Owens to SmackDown. Good. He needs something different. Way different. Jeff Hardy to Raw. Not surprised by that. I don't think they had anything left for him for SmackDown. Same with Riddle also. I guess they wanted both of those guys on Raw. So not really not really mad. That I was surprised that Riddle went to Raw though. I didn't really think he was gonna be moving anywhere, to be honest. And whatnot. Bryan's on SmackDown's okay. Strowman, I don't care either way, but he's on Raw. I know why they had to keep him on Raw so they can continue his little feud with Keith Lee going on right now. Next was Miz TV. Him and Morrison were out there to introduce Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke as his guests. As they talked about them going for the titles, but talked about how what Mandy Rose has done, her whole team with Sonya Deville, but then leaving her to go be with Otis and whatnot. But then they talk about that battle royale, as they said, may the best woman win. But as they kept talking, Natalya and Lana came out. Basically, that's channel changing material right there. As they said, they're in the battle royale also. As Mandy Rose says, why don't you go get on TikTok and instead of being on TikTok, maybe you need to take more time training in the ring. As Lana went to say, you want the tea. Let's talk about my 2 ex-husbands and ex-girlfriend, which that is true. That's the tea. But Natalya ended up hitting Mandy Rose, which they got a brawl, which I'm sure everybody made the joke of Vince is possibly having a hard-on in the back right now for blonde women out there fighting each other, giant boobs. So I think we all know what the joke behind that is. Okay, I'm sure we all know what that is. But for some reason, after commercial, Miz and Morrison were still there to do this show. So they had a Plan B guest. But before they could even get into that, Lars Sullivan came out. By the way, Miz and Morrison are on Raw. But Lars Sullivan came out, or some would say gay porn star. But you know what? Didn't I just hear about this dude's talking to people's wives now, or making some inappropriate messages or something? Somebody reported that online yesterday or two. I heard, like, didn't this guy just come back from enough controversy? What's he already comes back and he's got controversy hitting on people's wives now? I'm seeing what's going on with that. Really, what's going on? Like the gay porn thing really takes the cake for me. But I'm like, man, this guy's already screwing up, and he just got back. And I'm already hearing more controversy about him. I don't know. I don't really care for Sullivan either way. And then they got Morrison jobbing to him out there, or just looking like a rag doll for him, being enhancement talent. But I guess they're trying to do something with Lars Sullivan out there, something. But I'm surprised he was even on the show tonight. Okay, but he was already in more controversy. Next, Adam Pearce basically told the New Day and the Street Profits to switch the tag title belts, which they did. So they both had the titles to the respective brands. Some people actually thought this was going to be a unification to the belts. I actually probably would have thought that myself for a second, but I figured they would just switch them back, because obviously what's the point of them holding 2 different sets of belts unless they were going to do some match to determine how they get the belts or something. But they just switched them out to each other. Some people think they need to unify them because it's not enough teams, which is honestly true, because I don't even know any other teams on Raw. Then again, it's like, what, at least 2 teams on SmackDown? I don't know. Maybe they need a unification. I'm not really sure, but they just switched the belts. Ziggler and Rude wanted a shot then. Since they can't get against the Street Profits, they won against the New Day, since they're the ones holding the Raw titles, which I'll get to that in a second also. Next was the next round of picks, round 3. Retribution, which is kind of funny because this is a group that says they're going to destroy the company and rebel against them, which there was supposed to be a promo from Mustafa Ali tonight, but we never got that. But it's just kind of funny. The whole group gets drafted, and they're supposed to be the ones being like their own separate thing, but they're eligible in the draft, though. Lars Sullivan to SmackDown. We just saw him on SmackDown, so we kind of figured he was going there. I don't know why he kept beating up Miz Morrison, though. Keith Lee to Raw. I'm not really surprised. Corbin to SmackDown. I don't really care. It's Corbin. And Alexa Bliss to Raw, like I predicted early in the night. If Bray Wyatt was going to be there, just know Alexa Bliss was going to be there also. Seth Rollins came out there for his farewell address to Raw, that he will no longer be the Monday Night Messiah. Some people already call him the Friday Night Pharaoh right now. But he said that Raw's losing a big name. They're losing a champion who has conquered monsters and beasts and, one of the greatest leaders in Raw history and whatnot. That it won't be Rey Mysterio or Dominic that's going to fill the shoes, or, they're not going to stop him also. So no one can fill up his shoes to Raw until Jeff Hardy came out saying, you're trying to find a leader and whatnot. How about I take it? But, Hardy told Rollins, like, you're drafted to SmackDown, I'm drafted to Raw, so now it's my ring. But Rollins says, you need to focus on your match this Friday against Lars Sullivan, okay? But as, he told Hardy good luck then. He headed up the ramp. AJ Styles came out then, talking about, was it last call? That was a good one. Yeah, this was never Monday Night Rollins anyways, which Rollins got pissed at that, and he heard what he said. Jeff ended up kicking Rollins. He tried to hit AJ, but AJ pulled him out the ring. Jeff ended up taking him down, hitting a poetry in motion on top of AJ onto Rollins then, which began a triple threat match, but Jeff Hardy said a triple threat tag match, which that was obviously a giant botch out there. Sorry, microphone was messing up, but like I said, triple threat tag match, as Jeff Hardy said, but it was a triple threat match, which was actually not bad at first, okay? Jeff almost ended up getting the win and everything, doing a twist of fate onto Rollins, but next thing you know, we got the return of Elias, who smack dab took his guitar and hit the back of Jeff Hardy, which AJ Styles got the pinfall for the win. So I figured now it will be Elias versus Hardy in the feud next, which I'm sure you already knew Elias was going to be on Raw. But I'm very surprised to see Elias back. We have not seen Elias since he was hit by a car back on SmackDown months ago, so we'll see where this goes. And I find it funny AJ's on Raw. I know I didn't say this, like a lot of people said, the only reason why AJ is on Raw because he cannot physically be around Paul Heyman on SmackDown. So that's kind of the reason, which I can't believe he is on Monday Night Raw. But as Stephanie McMahon, immediately as soon as Elias attacked Jeff Hardy, he was drafted to Raw. Sami Zayn, the Intercontinental Champion, still on SmackDown. Why wasn't he drafted early if he's the Intercontinental Champion? Lacey Evans, the Raw. Okay, she wasn't really doing much on SmackDown anyways. Cesaro and Nakamura to SmackDown. It's whatever. Sheamus the Raw, which that's somewhat intriguing. I guess since they finished that feud with Big E, I guess they had no choice but to move Sheamus the Raw, which that's interesting. I will say that. That's something interesting. Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke went against Natalya and Lana. I don't really care. Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke won, pinned Lana. I was waiting for Lana to go through a table after that, as Natalya looked at Lana and said, I'm done and whatnot. But we think she's going through it. You think she wasn't going through a table? Oh, you got another thing coming, folks. Next, the Hurt Business was in the back, talking about Retribution. Ricochet came in and pretty much told him, like, he wanted one more match because he doesn't know if Cruz will be drafted to SmackDown, and he doesn't know if he'll be alone. So how about this? One more time, and this beef is over. If I win, it's done. But if I lose, I'll join Retribution. I'll join the Hurt Business. Sorry, I'm getting these groups messed up. But they accepted the challenge. Almas went against Angel Garza. Garza was back, from injury. He did get hurt back at the pay-per-view. Good to see he's okay. Zelina Vega was on commentary. Basically, Garza won after knocking Almas into like the apron and then hit him with the wing clipper then after it. Vega tried to come help Almas, but next thing you know, the Fiend's music hit and Alexa Bliss and the Fiend were right there doing their whole pose spider thing. And then they got up and they did Sister Abigail at the same time in stereo. So yes, they are technically still a team, of course. And whatnot. I don't know what they're going to have Fiend and Bliss do. I thought they would probably been a feud with Kevin Owens, but Kevin Owens was moved to SmackDown. So putting him on Raw was probably the best choice, because even my friend said tonight, keeping Wyatt on SmackDown, especially going back for the belt, would be a bad idea because he would just lose the Roman all the time. So best case scenario is to move him to Raw with Bliss and this whole like type of Quinn Joker thing they got going on right now, like Harley Quinn and whatnot. So I've called that for a while now. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Next, round 5 of the draft. Nikki Cross the Raw. Maybe because Bliss is there. Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode to Smack. Okay, this makes no sense. So let me get this straight. They have a tag title shot for the Raw belts tonight, but then they're drafted to SmackDown. That obviously is going to tell you that they're going to lose and not beat the New Day. They would have lost either way. But this gives you a bigger answer that they're not gonna win the titles and they're going to lose if they're going to a different show. So why even give them the tag title shot to begin with? Makes no sense if they're going to a different show. R-Truth to Raw, it's not like he never left. Cruz to SmackDown, get him away from the Hurt Business. This feud's gone on long enough. Give him something different. Dabba-Kato to Raw Underground. I have no idea what this guy is capable on his own, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what Dabba-Kato can do. Hope he's not gassed like last time he went against Strowman. New Day went against Rude and Ziggler. New Day won. Good match, but obviously predictable ending. And like I said, they were drafted to SmackDown. They were never winning the belts, okay? Elias was in the back with his guitar, the broken one, and talked about Jeff Hardy. That, you know, everybody wants to forgive him, but I haven't forgiven him when he took me out with his car. Crucial said that person was never identified, but Elias said that the truth will be available on October 26th, his Universal Truth album, and it's going to be an unforgettable concert. Obviously, I think that's when Hell in a Cell is happening, so it'll probably be a match at that point, okay? But next, Ricochet went against Cedric Alexander. The one thing I could say about this match was when MVP threw a chair in the ring and Ricochet grabbed it as the Hurt Business surrounded and Cedric didn't know what to do. Ricochet hit the ground with the chair, fainted, like this. He basically pulled a Eddie Guerrero. I know Eddie's birthday was the other day on Friday, but he basically pulled an Eddie Guerrero, lie, cheating, stealing, and it was a disqualification, which I actually thought he would have won by a roll-up, but the referee called it after that, after he faked like he got hit by a chair. So, yes, he pulled an Eddie Guerrero right here, folks. He pulled an Eddie. Next, the last round of the draft picks, Titus O'Neil to Raw. What was he doing on Raw? I don't even know. Carmella to SmackDown. Just got back and is on SmackDown, so she wasn't going anywhere. Peyton Royce to Raw. I still think she's getting a singles push. Aleister Black to SmackDown. Does this Kevin Owens feud continue now? Because I don't want to see it. And as some would say tonight, Aleister Black being, picked so late, especially around Titus O'Neil and the last pick of the night, Akira Tozawa with the ninjas and everything. Yeah, that kind of tells you how far Black has fallen. Maybe SmackDown does a difference. I don't know. I don't probably see it, but we'll see what happens, folks. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's the final draft pick, Tozawa, and I don't really care. Next, Asuka came out to watch this whole battle royale, this dual brand, to see if we get a shot at her title. I know the Nia Jackson came out and cut a promo and talked about her, Shayna will possibly win, and that they couldn't take her out. I know she took out Tamina, then Billie Kay. Asuka was on commentary, which is always great. Everybody ended up jumping Nia Jax and everything, as Baszler even helped also to get rid of her. Throughout this match, though, they showed Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton brawling in the back. But right after Bianca threw out Baszler, looked pretty cool. But the Riot Squad took out Bianca then. The final four was the Riot Squad and, Lacey Evans and Natalya. But one thing to take from this, I just want to say, once Nia Jax got eliminated, Lana went through another table. That's 4 in a row. 4 in a row, folks, and I'm just laughing at it. I have to say, WWE is very petty with this, but I find this hilarious. It's so petty, it's funny. Yeah, that was weird. Man, I was like muted or something. But yeah, Final Four though. I meant the table thing, which is hilarious. But right after the Riot Squad was eliminated immediately, and then it was Natalya and Lacey Evans that was left. One weird thing was that if Asuka was on commentary, how did she get to the back watching the match now? That didn't make a lot of sense. Why didn't you just keep her out there on commentary to keep watching? Why ever go to the back and watch it on TV? Natalya ended up taking out Lacey Evans, but Lana came in and knocked Natalya out the ring, which was very surprising. That I did not see coming, okay? But as she celebrated, Drew and Orton pretty much start brawling back with each other as referees and security just started to break it up, which that was probably the best thing out of this whole show is Drew and Orton. So they end up brawling with each other again. But next, I will say this whole battle royale was whatever. I didn't really see Lana winning, but obviously she's going to get murdered by Asuka next week, mostly in 10 seconds, or we could have her get beaten to death out there by Asuka if they want to. Obviously, this is just to take shots at Miro or Rusev or whatever after what he said about Vince McMahon and WWE, but I just find it hilarious that they take it out on his wife. That's 4 weeks. I've said to you before, man, they can do this until a contract runs out. We will put this woman through a table every week until her contract goes out, okay? Every week if we have to, just put through a table here, put through a table there, put a table here, there, a table every week, and she's going to get murdered by Asuka next week, because I don't want to see Lana on my TV, but I will enjoy Asuka murdering this woman, okay? And maybe she'll put it through another table, or maybe after Asuka wins, Nia Jax will come back out and put Lana through another table 5 weeks in a row, because this is a running gag, and yes, it is petty, but I find this funny also at the same time. So the pettiness, but it gives me a good laugh. It honestly does. Okay, so that's what I have to say about that. But other than that, the best thing on this show was Drew and Orton. These draft picks, honestly, were not really good, somewhat uneventful. I can't really say a lot of important people removed. Maybe a couple, but I can't say like everybody was. And it's almost like nobody was really moved. Everybody was somewhat still on their same show. I'm like, well, what was the point of this pick in a way? So there's maybe like a couple of them that was interesting, but I feel like due to feuds going on right now, they just want to keep people on these same shows and not do anything. Now, do I think NXT should have been involved in this draft? It should have been. I actually kind of thought they would have been, but they're not, unless they're just going to save that for Survivor Series and do the whole triple threat war thing again. But I would have expected them to come up in the draft, but they did not. So I think that was needed. But yeah, this whole draft thing just was either to an extent. I don't know if this will change any landscape. I'm not really sure, but at the same time, it's hard doing this draft at the same time. I've said same time too many times, but the thing with the draft is when you do this wild card or brand invitational thing, it beats the purpose sometimes. So I don't know what will happen. I'm sure this will draw a rating. It's the draft, but can I say really any important people really moved that much? Out of a few, I can't say a lot were, unless something happens on that Raw Talk supplemental draft. But it's like, okay, this person was already on Raw. This person was already on SmackDown. They didn't really do anything, so it's not like they moved anywhere unless it's going to be something different. So some may have caught my eye tonight, but I can't really say I was that impressed by this show or this draft in general. Okay? So, yeah, that's what I got to say about Monday Night Raw tonight. Other than that, I'm out of here. Follow me on Twitter at HoodedKnight890. Comment, subscribe. You know how this goes. Blah, 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 and everything. Just check out any review that is uploaded online right now. We probably got some stuff on the G1 and from SmackDown review also. Check that out. We will be back tomorrow night for an Impact review. So, yeah, there you go. But other than that, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later. Peace and fuck Columbus Day. So, out. Amazon Prime Day.